When you hear that idea that success can become evidence people use to avoid honesty, what do you see in the men that you work with?
Yeah, great question. I have some clients who are on paper super successful. They've checked all the boxes, so to speak. Yet there's one kind of small area or large area of their life that they can't control. And that's alcohol, could be other substances. Lately, pornography's been a big topic. Marijuana, with the strains nowadays, marijuana is not what it used to be 20 years ago. But focusing on alcohol, it's like, hey, it's legal. It's on every corner. You can pop down. I've got a Circle K, 7-Eleven, 5-minute walk from my house. So those decisions can be a little easier. And so, at any rate, I think that years and maybe even decades, and just going back on my personal experience and seeing others around me, it's like, if you're used to this routine of drinking 4 to 6 beers a night, and you've done that for years or done that for decades, there's the term functioning alcoholic. I don't know how functional you are. Thriving sober is something I prefer than functioning alcoholic, but there's a quiet cost to it. I don't think that people realize how sneaky it can be, and how it can affect your mornings, definitely your afternoons, because then you're scrambling to make up for the morning at work that you missed. It affects your relationships with your children, with your spouse, the relationship to yourself. And that was my experience, is the more I used and drank, the further I got away from my true self. And part of my sobriety journey has been coming back home, coming back to really discover and rediscover who I am. I've always been, and I like to say, my identity is I'm a loving child of God. And for me, that works really well because of the relationship that I have with a God of my understanding today. And it wasn't always that way. It's been a long road. It's been a long journey. Wouldn't trade it for the world. But really grateful to be on this side of it, and to have the focus, the clarity, to have to be intentional on a daily basis, to know where I'm going for the most part. As an entrepreneur, you kind of never really know. It's kind of a path of winding and dipping and all this stuff. But at the same time, I feel fulfilled. I feel like I do have a purpose-driven life at this point, and I wake up every day and I'm excited.